Here we go. Hello?
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 Oh, now it's coming through.
Hello? Hello?
Hello to Jordan and Julie and Reagan and Mira and Jasper and Michael and Rugru and Rage Unicorn and
Oh.
Hackman. I think that's everybody who's chatted so far.
Ooh. Is it Zach? I think it's this. I think it's this
Hello,
that
Kevin.
has our faces in it. Look, it's us! Yeah! Yeah! Look at that! We have stuff working! My God.
Sometimes the show works.
It's unbelievable! Hang on, I'm going over
In
here.
calls work, I just still can't hear you. Well, I can hear you because I can listen to the stream. You just can't hear me, which
That
means I'll just patiently wait until you're done talking.
that is correct. Okay, I need to go to voice.google.com. And I need to fully explain my social security number as I'm doing that.
You know, the wonderful thing is you can probably give one number away and be fine, right? So you can say the first number of your social security number.
Yeah.
What's somebody gonna do? Guess the rest of them?
The first number is 69. The last number is also 69. The
That really
middle
narrows it down.
the middle number, you're not going to believe it. Zach, welcome to the show.
What's between two 69s?
Julie says your social security number is 6. Damn it.
One of my favorite jokes from The Simpsons is time to enter my social security number: 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2. Damn you, Roosevelt.
Oh my God. Hello everybody. Welcome to the show. This is a call-in show. This started out as a gimmick, but it turns out it was fun and difficult to manage. And those are two of our favorite things.
If it works perfectly, it's great, and if it falls apart, it's even better.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
That's what I say every time I get on a Spirit Airlines flight.
Yeah. I would like to thank Duke for assisting me with the setup for this stream. I haven't tested it, so we're gonna see if it works.
Well, that's what you were preparing earlier. Okay.
Yeah, we were getting some stuff ready. We'll see if it works. Okay.
I'm excited to find out.
Oh shoot. There was additional setup that I needed to do that I didn't. Oh, Jackie's here. Hello, Jackie. Uh
Hello,
uh
Jackie.
I have great news. Lines are open. You can call in and talk about the dragon show if you want to. Zach, tell me about this dragon show. By the way, Zach, I have terrible news for you. I am going to be doing a lot of like actual maintenance this stream, so you have to keep us on track and make sure that we're moving from topic to topic properly. Can you do that?
Of course,
All
absolutely.
right.
What direction are we moving from topic to topic?
I believe in you.
Uh, okay.
Oh no! You better decide real fast. We're getting a call.
I'll hit you with something right now. Caller who's calling in has to tell us their favorite scene.
Hello, welcome to the show. Who do we have?
It's Reagan, and there's only one topic that's worth discussing, and that's because we got to see girls kiss.
This is correct. Please bear in mind that it is still the case that callers can't hear Zach, and Zach can't hear callers except on a significant delay.
I can hear callers just fine.
Amazing. I'm like watching this stream. Oh, Zach's opening his mouth. I'm like watching the stream to pay attention to see when Zach starts talking, and then I will be interrupting him for at least like 5 to 10 seconds while he's trying, and I won't even know what he's saying. I can't like have the sound.
Reagan, I would like to tell you how much I appreciate you identifying all the problems with the stream.
Exactly.
Reagan, why don't you? We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it this way for the whole stream. As the caller, you have like a minute, maybe a little more. Tell us, like, give us a thought that you wanna throw at us. And then we'll let you go, and then Zach and I will discuss it over on our end. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing.
All right, go
Does
ahead.
my time start?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Great.
I'm gonna sip from my John
Awesome.
Travolta mug.
I think, I mean, since the first episode, I there was like a part of me in my heart that was like, are these two girls gonna kiss? And now that one of them has kissed a girl, like, I don't think I could have been more excited for anything to like happen in this show. I've seen so many things that made me like jump out of my seat, but I haven't watched a scene in anything Game of Thrones related that has made me imagine Celine Dion in such the volume that I did. Because there are nights with vandalous pleasure, and it's more than your love could allow. Baby, baby. When you kiss me like this,
Celine
you hold
Dion
me like
cranks
that.
to the ceiling. Oh my god! All right.
Yeah.
This is perhaps and Reagan, as your final thought, I would love it. This is perhaps the second gayest episode. Perhaps the gayest episode.
Gayest episode. What is the gayest episode?
The one where Laenor runs away with his boyfriend, obviously.
Oh, right. I have two final thoughts. I am like, I totally believe that Aegon is gonna wear Viserys' mask, which is the most exciting thing besides girls kissing, and I do not believe, even if it breaks the lore, I do not believe that Laenor is dead just because Seasmoke is finding a new guy to hang out with. I don't think he's dead because I want to believe. I believe.
I
believe.
I agree wholeheartedly. I see Zach nodding. Reagan, thank you very much for calling in. I'm going to let you go, and Zach and I are going to talk about this.
Laenor's alive. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, Zach, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the excellent take that Laenor is still alive, the excellent take that Aegon is going to wear Viserys' mask, or the excellent take that this show is gay as hell?
I do want to point out of that last thing before I'm gonna pick Sea Smoke, but I want to say the thing that had me cackling like a madman this week was I went to look up the scene. I was thinking of an edit I could make for my memes and chip posting channel, and then it wasn't the idea I had, but somebody had a better joke. It was so much better that I felt embarrassed by my joke by comparison, which is somebody has already taken the uh, scene of Rhaenyra and Mysaria kissing and made an edit to a like bardcore version of all the things she said
Yeah.
and cut it like a anime music video. Uh, if you Google House of the Dragon, all the things she said, it's number one. Number two is a video that came out a year ago about Rhaenyra and Allison, which is pretty good. But this one's better. This one also had record turnaround time. This video was done 2 days ago. They had very little time
Yeah.
to turn that project around, and they got it done
Holy
before
cow.
somebody else did. So I got to appreciate that one.
You know what's
Let's talk about how Laenor is alive, because
Yep.
Tom, this is a funny thing. People at work know that I'm like in a Song of Ice and Fire YouTubeist on the side, and at my work check-in on Monday morning, somebody said, "So you're a big Song of Ice and Fire guy, right? You even watch House of the Dragon, right? Yeah. How can Sea Smoke take another rider if Laenor's still alive?" This was the longest thing we talked about in my work meeting in the morning.
Zach, hang on. I'm getting word that we're having that one of our local correspondents is coming in live from the streets outside of Driftmark. Duke, hello. What's going on? We go now to local correspondent Duke, who is live on the scene, bringing us some updates now. Duke, what do you have for us?
Oh goodness.
Hello, I'm live outside of Driftmark, and Adam of Hull has entered a steamy hot romance with his half-brother's old flame. And speaking of flames of a different kind, Stephen Barklin met an unfortunate end by the same.
Oh no, I'm laughing through my phone. Yeah.
I was laughing too hard at the bit to actually understand what was said, which I think was the intended effect.
Steve then trying to chat is screaming.
Duke jump scare, yes. Reagan, I feel like if you worked with me, we would have figured it out by now by the various times you've seen my face.
Duke.
It'd be really weird if your boss was named Zach and looked exactly like me and sounded exactly like me, and you didn't put it together.
Duke, I would like to thank you. I would really like to thank you for including the 5 seconds of dead air. It really means a lot that we have. Oh my
And
God.
the dead air is what had me cackling so hard that I couldn't actually hear what was said, because it was just the cut right to dead air.
Oh, holy shit, what a good bit. Oh my God.
Really feels like local journalism.
All right. Oh, incredible. Special thanks to Duke, one of our local correspondents out in Westeros. We'll be checking in with them again later in the stream.
Hello, Christy and Ross. All the Australians are awake now.
Double jump scare. PBS affiliate, yeah. No. The sponsored segment is later. The sponsored segment is later in the day. Oh, okay. We've talked about this so many times. Okay. This is a great. Kevin asks, I'm all for Laenor being alive, but someone please explain to me how that will impact the story for the better. Yeah, if you want to take it.
Can I take this?
You know, I've talked about this more than enough.
there are multiple good options for characters that Laenor could be. I always thought that him being one of the Hall brothers would have been a cop out, sort of, and I'm glad they didn't go that direction. Tom has pitched that there's a character coming up who I think he goes under a name that's clearly a nickname. I think he wears a mask also. Like he is perfectly set up to be somebody else in disguise. Uh, and is that truly wears a mask, or am I like hallucinating that?
He does wear a mask, yes.
Yeah. There's a
it's
character
possible we're both hallucinating together.
It's possible we're both hallucinating together. It's also possible they cut this character or change this character in the show. But there's a person who shows up who could have another identity. And if that is the case, he'd be a perfect fit for it.
Yeah.
And
Jackie says who? Ugh.
Do we want to spoil it?
So it's on one of our videos, and it's pure speculation. Sure. Trombo, the character Trombo, is without spoiling too much from the future. There is continued war in the Riverlands, and outside parties they do some very notable things. Some of those things I think would be very cool if it was Laenor was the person to do some of those things. It would be
a long-term setup and payoff if it was Laenor. Yes.
Everyone is like, I do not remember Trumbo.
You and I are the only ones who remember Trump.
Yeah. Because I was huffing so much copium when Laenor went away that I spent like 3 solid days trying to find someone for him to be.
because him being one of the Hall brothers would have been a cop, and you were smart to realize that.
So if he's not, we know he's not one of the Hull brothers. If he's dead, it's entirely possible that he's dead and he died off screen.
Which would be a real bummer, and I will mark points off this season if that's what they do.
Yes,
I'm gonna say that.
Speaking of marking points off the season, do you want to go ahead?
Sorry. Before we get to that, I do want to say, if Laenor is alive, like, Dany had a weird bond with her dragons, but Jon Snow was able to ride one of her dragons just fine. It's possible that if you have that psychic connection to a dragon, you can allow somebody else to ride it.
Yes.
And it's possible that, like, Laenor has been having dragon dreams, and he is, like, sort of given him permission to seek out a new rider temporarily. Like, if he got the vision of Sea Smoke burning a man alive, maybe in his dreams, maybe he's trying to, like, soothe him, find a way, give him permission. We don't know how dragon rider bonds work, because we know there's some sort of mental connection there. We've seen some good evidence of that. We don't know 100%. So it's possible that there's an exception there, and Laenor will come back and be like, no, I saw you in a dream, you're good. Which would be interesting, and I'd be all for it.
Kevin says, I listened to the Lost Sellsword episode and I'm all for it. Maybe Sea Smoke knows he's still alive, and that's what led him to his half-brother. Yep, I think that's very reasonable.
You're smoking the same shit as me, Kevin.
So here's what got me, and it was after I watched this most recent episode that I came to this point. The hole that I had to fill was, like, so Laenor is gone. The connection, if we assume that the Dragon Rider connection can happen either consciously, you can decide to no longer be bonded, or it happens over time. Why is Sea Smoke seeking a rider now? It seems very convenient for the story, right? It seems very convenient for the war that this is happening right now. The way that I can bring that around, Sea Smoke has just started looking for a new rider. What if Sea Smoke just started looking for a new rider at the same moment that Laenor read the letter saying that Luke is dead? Laenor, somewhere far away, got this letter. He experienced this mind-rending heartbreak, and said, like, and somewhere through the ether he could feel Sea Smoke, and he said to Sea Smoke, "It is time to go to war again." So Sea Smoke
and Sea Smoke can understand that through this like connection. I've got to get somebody else to ride.
Yes, Sea Smoke, I war in different ways now. You need a new rider. We gotta go bust some fucking heads.
if that is a scene in the next episode, I will drive 4 hours to high five you.
Let's go.
For
Let's
that purpose and
go.
that purpose alone.
And I think there's a very real chance that if Laenor is still alive, which is not necessarily the case, I think that through either Bela, who is in the Eyrie, is it Bela in the Eyrie? Through Bela's perspective, Joffrey's perspective.
If we're wrong about that, call Tom racist in the chat.
Either through Bela's perspective, Joffrey's perspective, or Tyland's perspective, all of whom are either on their way to Essos or will be soon. Rhaenyra is in. I'm sorry, Rhaenyra's in the Vale. Damn it! I do that all the time. My God. They will be on their way to the Vale soon. We know that that Tyland is going to be treating with sellsword companies, and that is where I have long speculated Laenor is. So I think it would be extremely cool if Tyland rocks up, and Laenor is like the deputy of the Second Sons. He's the second in command of the Second Sons, and the leader of the Second Son says, "Hell yeah, we're gonna fight for you, Tyland." And Laenor is like, go fuck yourself. I have children to avenge. Or him, my God, can you imagine the emotional scene of him meeting Joffrey? Him meeting the kid Joffrey, who is now like 7, who is about to be shipped to Essos. My God, it'd be amazing.
Because like Laenor's like absence is such a huge, crucial plot point to this season. Seasmoke seeking out a new rider, them not having somebody to ride Seasmoke to begin with. It would suck if we got no acknowledgement of Laenor still alive this season. They just sweep it under the rug, because that would be bad writing. You can't like notably have somebody fake their death and have the audience know that their death is faked, and then have that not be relevant to their absence later.
Yes.
So if that is a thing where if Laenor died off screen, or Laenor being alive is not like a significant plot point in these last like handful of episodes, I'm going to be shaking my head at the end of the season. Yep. I'm going to be little angry about that.
Now,
it'll hurt matter grade for sure.
I'm totally okay. On that one, I will reserve judgment probably until the end of season 3, because I think you could reasonably fit him in as late as 2 episodes before the finale of season 3, something like that. Knowing where things work out.
I agree that they can kick the can down the road for that, but you have to have a scene explicitly where the can is kicked. I need the scene where, like, Rhaenyra or Daemon specifically go, that's kind of fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Somebody was able to claim Seasmoke.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
I need somebody to talk about it. Yeah.
If they don't talk about it, I'm gonna duck points. And if it's just like, oh, he fell off a rock 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. At a very convenient time, he happened to die right on the eve of the Dance of the Dragons.
He had a fatal bout.
When we could have just, like, if we were gonna do that, we could have just had Daemon kill him. Like, it would have been that's a fine, like, that's totally in line with his character right now.
And that just feels like they didn't spare, like, then it just feels like they didn't spare Rhaenyra like ever getting her hands dirty. And if that's the route they go on in the story, it's gonna be like comical by the end of it.
Yeah.
If she like never once does something unethical through fucking war, civil war.
To the person who just tried to call in, lines are now open again. So if you want to try it again. Tinfoil, Daemon sent an assassin to kill Laenor when Team Black decided they needed Seasmoke. See, this is interesting, except Daemon is tripping balls and has been for a while. Yeah.
Well, I also would have loved to see that scene.
Yeah, that's a great scene that I would love to see. Because, like, my God, we see Damon doing a whole lot of dumb shit. Oh, we're getting a call in. We see Damon doing a whole lot of dumb shit. That I would love to see explained. Hello, you are on the air. Who do we have?
Hello, this is Usman from Canada. I wanted to get your thoughts on Sweet Robin being a green seer.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Tell me a little bit more about, give me a little bit more, setup, and then I'll let you go, and then Zach and I will talk about it.
Okay, the first thing that made me think about it is in Brand 2 of Dance with Dragons, when Bloodraven is like, "You will never walk again, but you will fly." And Sweet Robin is always going on about making people fly. But there's also the fact that he sits on top of a weirwood as well. And he's always having these weird dreams and visions. There's also the whole imagery of the crow. I don't know.
Ooh, all right. Now, I'm actually really excited to talk about. Julie says, "Is that Preston?" I think that's a very interesting perspective, and I've had similar thoughts before. It's actually interestingly in line with one of Zach's and my long-time theories. So thank you very much for calling in. I'm gonna let you go, and Zach and I are gonna talk about it at length. I'll see you in the chat, though. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Zach, fire away.
First of all, Julie, I did also think for a second that Preston was on the call. I agree. The Weirwood Throne is like a huge part of that, and also I think the theory you were alluding to, Tom, is my assertion that some of the people who seem to be the most magically attuned had something traumatic happen to them in childhood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. This is one of my.
Bran has his fall when he's rather young. Patchface is very young when he drowns and is reawakened. We see that Dany has her, like, she's a young teenager when she walks into the burning flames and comes out unburned. There are plenty of examples, and then Jojen had that fever that almost killed him, and that is what specifically gave him his green sight, his green dreams. So he had a near-death experience, and then from that he was able to get magical powers. And Melisandre also was kidnapped, sold into slavery as a child, and then was fed wildfire potentially. If you believe Michael talks about stuff, I think that's a very good explanation for what happens.
I see him in the chat.
And we have plenty of examples of young people intersected with magic, and also young people might be more. It's possible the reason Varys was cut was because he was young. Young people might be more magically attuned or magically susceptible. And in fact, when Mel burns the leeches, it's off a young person also. So there might be power in King's blood, but there might be power in young people and youth also. And it might be that having some sort of magical traumatic childhood experience makes you susceptible. Even just a regular traumatic childhood experience makes you more susceptible to the magic part of the world. This is notably, I haven't read through all of it because it's really fucking long, but there's a series on the internet called Worm where your powers are activated in a moment of trauma. So you have something traumatic happen, and then you gain superpowers. Like the protagonist, she was severely bullied, and that gave her the power eventually to control insects and simple-minded animals like crustaceans and stuff like that. Arachnids too.
That's the one where I love you even though you're a worm, right?
Yes, that's the one. That and a Dune Messiah. Yes.
I'd like to highlight a Michael Talks About Stuff comment. Dany, of course, had the trauma of being swapped at the Tower of Joy with Jon, Mira, the Pisswater Prince, Edric Dane, and another character to be introduced in Winds. Zach, your thoughts on this?
I have tried to pitch as a joke before. what's the most insane baby swapping chain I can make for a single video, and I
Man,
think I can get
what a fucking set. I was doing this on the most recent Michael and Mirabol, thank you very much for being on the most recent recording, where I was going insane thinking about how unhinged the things we were saying must sound to people who don't know what we're talking about. So I just love the phrase baby swapping chain. That's such a that's indecipherable if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We occasionally dip into like 300 level Song of Ice and Fire theories, which is why I think we're never gonna be like a 50,000 subscriber channel, because this is a class that very few people take. But the people who take it really want to be here.
Well, you heard him. We got to prove him wrong. Let's multiply our subscriber numbers by 20. That seems lower than I thought it was going to. Huh.
Yeah, I guess so. How
Huh.
many subscribers does Preston Jacobs have? He has almost 200,000. Okay, you know
what I
what?
was gonna guess.
It it would require like a little over 1 in 3 Preston watchers to say, I wish I had more of this unfiltered and occasionally going in like a complete nonsense direction just for the hell of it. Do you think 1/3 of Preston subscribers would say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, actually you're right. Okay.
I mean,
One conceded.
I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be honest. They're more likely to go to Michael, because Michael's are a little bit more
definitely.
stable than ours.
But
we
you
can
also
get some of
get
them. We can get some of them.
you also get your 15 minutes of theory and 15 minutes there instead of an hour and 43.
Yeah, here you get 15 minutes of theory and 90 minutes of bad bits. This is a comedy show that's cleverly disguised as a literary podcast.
The wonderful thing about that is like there is no pretension here that like we are like serious book intellectuals. We're just two fucking nerds who like similar things and want to prattle on about them while occasionally making dick jokes. And by occasionally, I mean constantly.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Zach, we talked about cum so much in the last recording. My god.
We did. We said cum so many times.
We said
I
cum
said cum
so many times.
We were all dancing around it until I decided to say it about 50 times.
And if you want to know what that's about, go subscribe to Michael Talks About Stuff right now.
We shut down my pineapple discussion too. Can't believe it.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. I like this. This is a good thing that we do, Zach. Holy shit. Oh
thank you, Michael. That comment's actually really nice.
To the person who tried to call in, I am opening the lines again. Holy shit. Zach, have you still been Googling area codes?
Oh, I can't see the area codes coming in off of your screen.
Oh damn, never mind, it's fine. And I can't share my screen with you because then I will show all of my Discord.
Then you will dox everybody, yes.
Yeah, can't do that.
Instead of just me.
Oh, hello, hang on 1 second. Hello, you're on the air. Who do we have? Wait a minute, I recognize this.
Oh, it's Usman again. I got another crazy theory I wanted to just drop into the ether.
All right, send it.
Theon wrote the pink letter.
Ooh, all right. You have 90 seconds. You have 2 minutes. Send it. What do you got?
Okay, premise. This is actually the whole idea.
Okay.
I think the letter was dictated by Mance Rayder, but it was written by Theon. Now, why I think Mance was the first guy is because, like, you know, he keeps talking about wildling shit that, like, Bruce Bolt, like, what was his name? Ramsay Bolton would never care about, right?
Uh-huh.
And also, like, no one uses the word king beyond the wall, unironically, in the South. And we also know how, like, Ramsay writes his letters. But I think the reason why Theon wrote it is he's the only guy who would have access to bolts and wax, but wouldn't have access to a seal. There's also all this talk about how bad the writing is, you know? And the writing just seems like something that would apply to Theon because he doesn't have all his fingers together, and he's still able to do some fine motor skills like hold a dagger or something, but it's clearly messed up. Also, Theon just seems a bit smug in the wind sample chapter. Like, clearly he planned something. And given his whole arc is about him reclaiming his identity, it just seems like something that Mad Lad would do.
It also seems like the, you know what? Hey, why don't you give us any final thoughts and then we'll talk about it. Because I like where you're coming.
Mm-hmm.
This is not me saying I agree, but I like where you're coming from, and there's some interesting points here, and we'll chat about it. But give us any final thoughts you have.
That's my final thought.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in, Zach. We're about to talk about the pink letter. Have a great night. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
I love this thing. I love this format.
I'm always happy to talk about the pink letter. I'm always happy.
Okay. All right, Zach. Did you get all that?
Yes, I did. I got all that. Fascinating. So I don't know if I believe it, but I like that George R. R. Martin is very good about making agency a central theme of his works, and that's why one of the reasons I love him as a writer. And you're right. Theon regaining his identity and regaining the ability to do anything. Theon spends an entire book not only having lost his identity, but having lost his ability to do anything except what he's told. He is literally a slave, and to an absurd degree of punishments and being told what to think and where to be and when down to the exact moment. So him forging something, him being part of a conspiracy to put words in the mouth to make it seem like the person who is controlling him was doing something he was not, would be really meaningful for his character. And it's a shame that I don't believe the theory.
Speaking of conspiracies, calm down on those jokes in the chat, okay? You know who you are. I see you in there.
It just, Tom, it strikes me as weird that after Robert caved in Rhaegar's armor, he moved back to the left.
No! God damn it! God damn it! You can't encourage people like this, Zach. I just went through. I got all the messages. I pulled them all out. I got them out. Jordan, no.
Don't worry, everybody in chat. There's no way you can get in more trouble than I get into every stream.
Jordan, it's fine.
Sorry,
You want to know why? You want to know why it's fine, Jordan? Because one of the rules is don't say anything in chat that we wouldn't say live, and here we are. No. All right, now
no. This isn't a sorry. This isn't a sorry.
Nick,
to you, Tom. As per my work, I have to say whenever expressing opinions
Zach,
online,
we're getting a call, and I'm trying to chastise chat.
All views are my own. Okay, there you go. Let the call in.
Nick, I appreciate you. I appreciate you retracting that. That's not me saying that it wasn't funny. Hello, you are on the air. Who do we have?
It's Julie. I'm here to save you from whatever's going on.
Thank God. Hello. Welcome to the show, Julie. What would you like to talk about?
Gay women.
Yes! Yeah, this is going to be a theme. Go ahead,
What
go
else
off.
is there to talk about? There was a dragon, maybe. Who cares?
There was a dragon. There was also food. There was food this episode.
There were women kissing. There were women kissing. Let's get back on track.
There was drama, but there was women kissing. This is important.
That scene was great. Literally, within 2 minutes of them kissing, I was like, I made a joke out loud to myself alone in my room that they should get.
I did a very similar thing. I when I was watching it, like the two of them, like it was clear they were getting closer, and like they went in for a hug, and I was like, "What is this hug?" And I said verbally, out loud, "If this isn't gay, I hate it." And then the two of them like leaned back, and like I looked for like, "Is this gay?" And then they kiss and like, "This is gay." I see this live. I'm sorry. There's nowhere near enough pride flags in the chat right now. Julie, please continue.
Right. I wanted to say some people. I agree that it came out of nowhere, but I feel like that it worked for the scene that happened. I feel like there was enough set up for that to be a believable event.
I agree. I see where you're coming from both directions. My first response was sort of like, I don't know. Do y'all like do these two have a well-founded enough relationship to justify this? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that part of it is that in that moment, they are the only two people that each of they're the only person that trusts the other person, or they think that the other person is the only other person they can trust.
Yep.
You know?
They are the only two human beings who have demonstrated themselves to be trustworthy in the whole universe, except for Simon Strong, but he's not here. All right, Julie, just so that we're not leaving Zach out too much, give us your final thoughts, and then Zach and I will continue to ramble on. Because I can see people knocking on the phone lines right now.
People have accused the scene of being a little male gazy, but I would respond that literally in the hours prior to me watching that scene, I had similar makeouts occurring between myself and another woman. So
yeah,
who's to say?
I'm like that was a very normal makeout scene.
I don't. It wasn't excessive. Yeah. I think the progression of emotions you could see within both of them. I think it was just emotion, like vulnerability and trying to comfort the other person, and then like slowly each of them like realizing in the intimacy of that hug what was going on.
Like, hey, you would be a good leader if you know what I mean. Julie, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Zach, go off. Oh, did we lose Zach? Uh-oh.
Oh, no, I'm here. Sorry, I'm on a delay, remember, to hear. Good counter argument if you think that the characterization of that scene was not set up properly or rushed. We did get set up in the first season that Rhaenyra for her entire life has been sexually harassing her employees, so it was really a continuation.
Good night, everybody.
I'm on a delay. I don't know if Tom still has his face palm.
Good night, everybody. That's the show. All of this is hard to dispute.
Yes. No, I thought it was a very well done scene. I thought that you could tell it felt like a mistake while it was happening. It felt like Rhaenyra was overwhelmed with emotion, and this is something I've talked about, is that she often feels like she's robbed of agency. She's on a island made of stone and dragon bones.
Oh.
Yeah, surrounded by people who want to like come up with a more long-term strategic plan. She does not want, and also people who want to jump right into like war immediately, but also want her nowhere near it. Neither of these things leave her specifically with a ton of direct options. And this whole episode was about her trying to find ways to do something effective, and either failing miserably, like trying to get someone to claim a dragon who's clearly not able to do so, or sending food to King's Landing over boats, but it's very distant. She doesn't get to personally like have an attachment to that. So of course, when it's a very similar like sort of like pent up frustration sort of thing, she feels like she has no agency. She feels like she has nobody she can trust. She feels like she's nobody she's particularly close to. The second she gets an excuse to make out with somebody, all those bottled up emotions are going to come out. Especially because the person she's usually used to making out with got into a physical fight with her, a like sort of end of the relationship argument, and then immediately fucked off to a different castle and has not responded since.
Yeah, then
Has been leaving you on red ever since.
And he's currently going out of his way to try to get her fired from her job.
Yeah, yes.
He's not good. He's not good, and we don't like him.
That's a horribly cursed comment that you just left Michael at to distract me. Michael Dean with the Jesus dog. Very cursed. But yeah, I think you could tell characters
channel.
were like you could tell that both characters are processing a lot. I don't think Mysaria sort of saw that one coming and just was like, I guess I'm going along with this. And I don't think she was like unenthused. I think she was just sort of surprised is all. They better talk about this. This better inform their characterization through the rest of the show with each other.
Yeah.
Because like if this is just a one-off, or like I don't think they can comfortably jump right into a relationship off of this. Nor do I think that they can just pretend that this never happened. It's the perfectly uncomfortable, well, we have to talk about what we did last night.
Yeah.
And
as a matter of fact, I would wager that their interactions are gonna be awkward and horny by turns.
Yeah, it's going to be a pattern of we should talk about this, but we're not going to. Uh-oh, it's happened again. Pull away, awkwardly not talk about it. Kind of happens again.
Interestingly, it's sort of what an interesting inverse that makes to Alicent's relationship with Kristen. Kristen and Alicent, because I like if anyone, how to phrase. If anyone finds out about Rhaenyra's, if it does develop in anything, Rhaenyra's relationship with Mysaria, they will that will be used as ammo against her. But like in follow up to the themes of like sexual freedom that like we've been talking about for 2 flippin' seasons, like it will be used as ammo against me because it is perceived as wrong that I'm doing this, but it shouldn't be. Whereas with Kristen and Alicent, it will be used as ammo against me, and it will be seen that it's wrong that I'm doing this, and I probably shouldn't be. Right. This is probably not a healthy thing to be getting into with this very not good man.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Alicent really like has it in a sort of like delay. She's now finally all at once. She's had very little agency her entire life. She gets it all at once. Meanwhile, like Rhaenyra had a ton of agency comparative to like most people, like, especially most women in highborn society in Westeros. She was able to, have, because of her relationship with Laenor being like set up from the beginning, that like, okay, you're gay and I'm into too many different guys to settle down for one. I like to swing people around sometimes, or I'm looking for somebody else. Why don't we not? Why don't we have a sham marriage? Most people in Westeros don't get a sham marriage; they get a forced marriage. And then she gets to pick Daemon the second time around, and Laenor is cool with it. They all sign off. They have a secret agreement where he fakes his death, so she can marry the person she wants.
Except for that
second
one guy
time around.
Except for that one guy they flame broil.
Yeah, but that guy was small folk, so we don't care.
Yeah.
So the thing they're setting up probably the best in the series, but the uh, the wonderful thing is that now she got her political power, and now you get to realize like this is one of my favorite like fun political facts is uh, the biggest concern that Joe Biden had before running for president was he would never be allowed to drive again because it's too much of a security risk to allow the president to drive on like normal roads. So the Secret Service does it for you for the rest of your life. If you're ever president, you don't drive ever again in your life. And it's that level of security when somebody is a leader. And Rhaenyra is the queen. Like she is never going to do anything outrageously risky again. And we saw why with Aegon in previous episodes, and especially the consequences of that in this episode. If you go in and risk your life, you can die, and that's terrible because they don't want the leader to die.
We see,
but you also don't want a scenario where the leader is still alive and is barely alive, and they have to keep him in power while he's not like well. And that has all of a sudden all of her agency gets shut down completely with what's supposed to be the peak of her power.
On a like I would love to bounce off of that and talk about Aegon because we got some more Aegon this episode. Aegon woke up.
Yes.
Yes. To the person who tried to call in, lines are open. But Zach, tell me about Aegon.
Aegon is awake. Oh no. Is everything good, Tom? Can I rant about Aegon?
Hello?
Hello, welcome to the show. Who do we have?
You have Jasper.
Jasper, hello. We were just about to talk about Aegon, but you are welcome to take us anywhere you would like.
No problem. I was just realizing that you guys were being very happy, and as the basement-dwelling gremlin, I felt like I had to throw some negativity at you guys.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. I am a font of positivity that is very hard to put out.
So, objectively speaking, I don't think this episode is the worst. Subjectively speaking, I hate it.
Oh, interesting.
And and the main thing is, first off, I was heartbroken that this episode is pretty much the one that confirms that Nettles isn't going to be in the series. I had some hopes that she would return, similar to like how Darren has been mentioned and brought up, but now it's just not happening, and I can't get over that at all.
I want to talk about this, but I'll let you finish up your points so that we can let you go, and then Zach and I can ping back and forth on it.
Yeah, no problem. Just two more things. I do agree with you guys that obviously Laenor has to make an appearance eventually, because otherwise, what's the point of killing him? And while I don't have high hopes in the writer's capabilities, I have some faith that obviously they have to bring him back. And thirdly, in regards to the gay kiss, I think I actually learned a lot about that, because now I know the next time I'm talking with a girl and she trauma dumps me on that kind of relationship with her father, I know that's a sign to go in.
I think that is a reasonable criticism. I think that is a reasonable criticism of that scene that did occur to me as well. However, I think within the context of the scene and within the context of their relationship, I don't have too much of a problem with that. Zach, shut the fuck up. I can see Zach holding in laughter on the other screen. All right, Jasper, anything to add? Because Zach and I are about to talk about this because I have a Nettles theory that is related to this that I think that you will like, and if you want to call back in a little bit later and talk about it, I would love that.
Sounds good. I hope that you're right.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna let you go, Jasper. Thank you for calling in. Maybe we'll hear from you a little bit later in the show.
Sounds good.
Okay, Zach.
Okay. To bounce off the trauma dumping thing. She was talking to a Targaryen. She should have known the subject matter would have been read the other way.
I'm not helping you on this one.
She's married to her uncle. That's not even subtext. That's just text.
Mira's screaming in the chat. You can call in. Hang on. Hang on. I'm turning the call-in lines off because there's a couple of interesting things that we need to respond to there. We will come back to the Rhaenyra and Mysaria discussion. Absolutely we will, because that is like the scene of the episode. But I want to talk about those other two scenes too.
I do want to say for the sorry thing, I don't think she was fully intending that to be a like romantic moment. I think she just sort of rolled when it was. So I think she was kind of blindsided by it. That was the characterization I do think that was kind of a bad time for Rhaenyra to pull that move, but it worked.
No,
so
hang on, because unless I'm mistaken, Mysaria started kissing her neck.
We don't. So I was watching it, and I could see like her moving, but from the angle, I don't think it was entirely clear.
There was some nuzzling for sure. I think
yeah. You can like nuzzle up against somebody in a non-flirty way.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, look, we're gonna sit here and dissect this. I think from the writing of the scene and from the character motivations of both characters, that was a flirty nuzzle. I think it's a safe statement.
I agree. I don't dispute if somebody has a different interpretation of it, because so much of that scene is communicated non-verbally, and not every verbal cue means the same thing for every person. And I think that's kind of the point of the scene, because it gets cut off and they don't talk about it. We don't fully know who.
Yes.
Like they've given themselves a lot of leeway for how that scene's interpreted later, and that's something they like to do a lot of shows: give themselves multiple paths out of something.
And I'm willing to I'm willing to how to phrase I'm willing to allow this scene a little bit of leeway until they talk about it. If they don't talk about it, if nobody ever talks about any of this, then this scene is getting the hammer.
We're in season 2. The show's going to run for multiple seasons. There's a lot of stuff they're still setting. There's a lot of stuff that is going to feel like it came out of nowhere, because it has to like start from somewhere. And also, both seasons were much shorter than they were intended to be. Some stuff is going to be rushed, and that's HBO's fault. And while it does affect the letter grade of the show, I'm loath to blame the writers for that one, because they wanted more. And if there were 2 more episodes where this is supposed to be set up a little bit more and things are a little bit more flirtatious, then them having a scene that's supposed to be like opening up emotionally, turning more romantic, incidentally plays a little bit better. But I feel like they had less screen time than they would have liked. It is like weird to like kiss somebody after they trauma dump out of nowhere, but it's not like an unprecedentedly horrible act. And it was clearly that they were both like good with going on board with it, even if I think Mysaria was a little bit surprised. You can be surprised and not like in a negative way. You can be pleasantly surprised by somebody getting like romantic with you in a way where there was clearly some communication beforehand, obviously.
I can't believe we're out here like dissecting this kiss.
It's the thing everybody's talking about. It was the most dramatic scene
of the episode
of a show that had dragons burning people in it. The scene of 2 people kissing was all that we could talk about. Somebody was boiled alive by a flame broiled alive by a dragon. And we're talking about 2 women kissing.
Mira is shouting lyrics to Eminem songs in the chat, so I have to move us along.
That's true.
I am.
Nettles.
Yes, I want to talk about Nettles. Zach, you want my Nettles scene?
Yes.
You want my Nettles theory? Okay. In this episode, it appears that we have gotten confirmation that Rhaenyra will be taking on the role of Nettles, probably. Though this is certainly not confirmed. For those of you who don't know, Nettles is a character in the books who is a a common-born dragon rider. No one really. It is unclear what their parentage is, although there are plenty of theories in book and out of book.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is. I like. I don't know why Rhaena can't like a mystery knight as Nettles. I think that would be
That's an interesting.
baller as hell. It'd be awesome.
I don't know why she would, but yes, she could Mystery Knight as Nettles. In addition, like you could still have Nettles show up later if you're drastically changing, not even drastically, if you're mildly changing the plot. The show is like has commitment issues to characters they're going to keep or cut to some extent, because it's clear to me they weren't going to have Darren, and then they looked at the book again and said we kind of have to have him, don't we? So if they feel like they need Nettles, they'll just introduce her. It's fine.
Mirrors
They'll
in the
have her
chat
show up.
screaming. Oh my god. Seems like a thing you might share before you hook up with someone.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not criticizing her for trauma dumping. That was a good time to do it. It was questionable whether that was the time to kiss somebody, but I'm not opposed to it entirely. I wish there had been more setup so we could have seen them act in
Mysaria
romantic ways
kissed
beforehand, so
Rhaenyra.
we felt more built up to.
Mysaria kissed Rhaenyra on the neck.
From the angle that's
We're gonna
unclear.
fucking go and rewatch this scene. This is not an unclear thing. This motherfucker was kissing this human being's neck, like during the
we're having
longest,
a
the
shot,
longest,
like, shot first
the
over a kissing
longest
scene.
platonic hug and nuzzle in human history. This sets fucking records, bro. No way.
I've had longer platonic hugs than that.
I've never hugged a person for more than a second and a half.
That's on you.
I'm not disputing that. Okay, I'm turning the lines back on, and Zach is talking about Dayrun. Zach is talking about Dayrun.
Darren. People in the chat are also disputing who kissed first. It's a real
God, we have calls coming in. I wonder who it could be. Oh no, we have so many calls coming in all at the same time. Hello, you're on the show. Who do we have?
Hey guys, this is Noob Smoke 92. I just joined your community, but I've been watching your show for a long time. So kudos to you guys.
That's great. Great to have you. Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you guys. So I had a little bit of how to say. I had a little bit of a theory. It's not actually my theory, but I've seen it over the community over the years. Just wanted your opinion on that.
Okay.
So, in the main series, we have Lady Stoneheart, who a lot of people are asking, what is her eventual storyline ending? And I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. There is a good theory on her arc, which concludes with a smiling lion theory, which is basically the idea is that Jaime Lannister will be the next leader of the Brotherhood without banners. And the idea is basically after Lady Stoneheart gets her resolution in her arc, which is mainly about her finding her kids, which is most likely it's Sansa or Arya, but according to the Azor Ahai theory, we have three phases of Lightbringer forging. And the first phase, which is the tampering in the water, is Lady Stoneheart herself.
A river, then a lion, and then, yeah.
Right. So second phase is capturing a lion and putting a sword through his heart. And my idea is that she will give her kiss of life to Jaime Lannister, who will then become the next Brotherhood Without Banners leader. And as his right-hand man, which is very funny is that if Cersei has Gregor Clegane on his side, he will have Sandor Clegane as his right-hand man, with Lemon Cloak's basically cloak.
Okay. Then I have one question to bounce back. Do you have, this is very interesting, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, but do you have a position on what will happen with the, I don't know, the like piece of soul, the piece of life, whatever it is, that has been passed from Beric to Stoneheart to Jaime? What happens after this? What's the last thing?
Are you asking me or Zach? Sorry.
I'm asking you if you have a position, which and it's totally okay if you don't, because
Yeah.
I'm over here trying to formulate one. I think this is a fantastic theory.
Yeah. So basically, what I think after Jaime becomes the leader of the Brotherhood Without Banners, you need to keep in mind that the regime in King's Landing most likely will change to Fagon's regime. And after that, Jaime will become first of all, he will be stripped of his Kingsguard, of course, because they cannot keep him as a Kingsguard of Aegon's regime. And he will be declared an outlaw. And if we remember from the books, he has a saying that this boy wanted to be Arthur Dane, but somewhere he became the Smiling Knight.
Somewhere along the line, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think that after he's done with this Riverlands plot, he might become the protector of the small folk in the south till Dany arrives, and he will fight against Euron or Aegon against their atrocities, because we cannot say that the Aegon's regime will be such a good regime that everyone will agree with it.
All right.
But eventually, of course, his arc will take him to the north. But that's all I had, guys.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for calling in. This is really interesting. I'm gonna let you go, but Zach and I are gonna talk about it right. Thank you very much for calling in. What an awesome theory, Zach. What do you think of that? Oh, we're waiting on Zach. Zach's finishing up.
No. Sorry, I was listening in.
Yeah. What do you think of that? That's a cool perspective, dude.
I wish I came up with that first
Yeah,
perspective.
me too.
Like,
That's awesome.
That's a good fit, because like Jaime's whole first of all, he in his youth he fought a band of outlaws.
Yeah.
So like he as the good honorable knight fought a band of outlaws in the Kingswood Brotherhood, and that was like a seminal like part of what made him a good knight. And for him to realize now that the cause of a similar band of criminals is the righteous one would be such a compelling narrative to get from his perspective, because he's gonna reflect on it. He's gonna reflect on how he started off hunting down criminals, and now he's the one leading them. And I think that's a like wonderful place for his character to go, because that's the thing. Like once the trial is like if he's Valonqar, he has to kill Cersei. That's the only thing left in his story after that. And maybe to like do right by bringing Catelyn Stark's kids to safety. Those are the really two things he needs to check off. And he can like do that, but it's going to have a lot of him wandering aimlessly in between if they don't give him something else interesting for his character to be doing. Him leading a band of outlaws and then turning them into like a pseudo like competent military to resist the like Fagon like sort of attempt to reunite the realm. That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
dude. Yeah.
That could absolutely, and also the Brotherhood Without Banners was meant to clean up the mess that his father made. So there's another like layer of text there.
Some lovely poetry if he's the one who ends up doing it.
Because then Tyrion killed Tywin and then fled. He didn't have much of a choice, but he ran away from his father's problems. Cersei sort of embraced like the damage that Tywin did. She wants to be Tywin with teats. And then it would be fitting if Jaime is the one who takes responsibility and tries to clean up for the mess that his father made. Yeah. And we see all three Lannister kids deal with the trauma and damage that Tywin left. Sometimes
Yeah.
literal damage.
Cersei's trying to replace it, and Tyrion's trying to run away, but
Mm.
Jaime's the only one who's trying to fix it.
Yeah, he's going to repair instead of replace or run away. Yeah, that's neat. I like that a lot.
We're gonna do a video on this because I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna ponder who would be the last. So Stoneheart died in a river. Jaime is the lion, and I'm gonna sit here and ponder who would be the last person for that like soul piece, the breath of life, to be passed into, because that maybe Cersei as Jaime's like love. I don't know. He kills Cersei and then he undead kills Cersei and then kisses her, and then she comes back to life.
That'd be fucking gnarly.
Yeah. How's that for a theory? How's that for off the dome piece, dude?
Yes, that's pretty good. I like that. I like that addition. Tom, before you open up lines again, Mira, if you want to debate us on the kissing scene, you can just jump in the room recording.
No, you can't. It'll break the layout. No, you can't. It'll break the layout.
Oh, it'll break the layout. Sorry, don't do that.
No, you can't. No, you can't
do that. It'll break the layout.
You can't do that.
It would be really funny. You can't do that. It would break the layout.
It'll break the layout, and I spent so long. No, Zach, you can't do that. Zach, hold on. I'm getting word in from one of our correspondents on the street. Hold on one second.
Oh boy.
We're going once again live to Duke, who's reporting in the field from Harrenhal. Duke, what's going on down there?
Yeah, I am now inside of Damon's head, who's tripping balls in this haunted castle. And guys, it's weird here. When I spoke to Damon, he told me to, quote, stop usurping his throne. And Simon Strong commented, I have no idea what he's talking about, but we need to call someone. Luckily, trusted medical professional Alice Rivers just came back from a sadly unsuccessful home care trip to River Run and has the situation under control. Channel 7 Seven Kingdoms Chronicle Dragon Diaries is sponsored by Littlefinger's Barossi jetpacks for when you need to get somewhere unrealistically fast.
Oh my lord.
The best bit we've ever done.
The Littlefinger jetpacks.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at least in this show you have dragons to count as your jetpacks, but there are a couple of jetpacky scenes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh wow. I don't know how Duke managed to get from Driftmark to Harrenhal that fast, but it's really very impressive. We have like 4 missed calls. The lines are open. If anyone wants to call in. I think that is, did Duke write those? And yeah, Duke and I wrote those together.
That's pretty good.
Hello, you are on the show. Who do we have?
Hey, it's Michael. I must have beaten Mira by like a split second.
Mira's calling in right behind you. Sorry, Mira.
Sorry, Mira. I had to race you, and then you can tell me if my take is terrible too. Because I wanted to give my take before we get a woman hopping in here and telling us how wrong we are.
Send us, Michael. Send us.
Okay. So about the main criticism that scene has seen is the trauma dumping thing. And I just want to point out, Mysaria was the one who was saying, like, oh, this really becomes you. You look so good with that sword. Like, if you read it, like, looking back at it, knowing what's going to happen, Mysaria is, like, initiating. And I'm just going to say it. If you have a trauma that is based in sexual stuff, and you have a giant visible scar that someone will see when they see you naked, a time to tell someone about that might be right before you start making out with them, just to not, like, have to tell them, you know, if things go according to your plan in 10 minutes later when you're maybe taking your clothes off.
That's a good perspective, and I'm sorry. I'm smiling because I see Mira continuing to call
She's gonna be very mad at me.
in.
Yeah, I figured she'd be mad at me.
Mira,
But
I don't know what
wanted
you
to
want from me. You called it.
I wanted to get that point out of the way that I don't think it's necessarily bad writing to have Mysaria explain something that in her mind Rhaenyra may be finding out 5 minutes later anyway. And the other point, just jumping off of that, is I saw so many people like in the live chats after the episode talking about how terrible the writing is for this scene and stuff, and I kind of just want to say, like, am I wrong in thinking that like our brains have been collectively broken by like a few years there where a bunch of very high profile projects had some really bad writing, and now everyone on the internet sees a thing and is like instantly looking to pick apart like, this is bad writing.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes maybe you just don't like exactly what happened. It's not bad writing all the time. Like, this isn't bad writing even if you don't like it. It makes some sense.
Yeah,
it's just awkward and crazy.
100%. The era of the internet that we live in right now is well, the era and sections are geared toward negative takes, right? Toward dunking on shit. And it's fine to dunk on bad shit, but dunking on good shit also gets you the kind of engagement that like how to phrase that is that makes for some real good, like, you know, is Game of Thrones still shitty, like 4-second TikTok videos, you know?
Yeah. Yep. It's like it was a formative experience for many people and their media takes on the internet, seeing everyone complain about the writing of everything. And now that's just like instantly where people's minds go, like rather than trying to like, why would this character do this? It's like, oh, character did a thing, bad writing, I don't like it.
Yeah, dude. Like there have been a lot of people who have been comparing this season to season 8, and those people did not watch season 8.
I agree. Exactly.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Yep.
Michael, thank you very much for calling in. Zach and I are gonna chat about this, and I think that I'm gonna open the lines so that Mira can call back.
Yeah. Let Mira get in here. She's been waiting patiently.
All right.
She can tell us how wrong we are.
Thank you for calling in. Goodbye.
Hey.
Oh boy.
Hey, I gotta say, Tom. Just because this season is not season 4 does not mean it's season 8.
And honestly, this season is like very good.
It's a different show also, and I think that's something that Mira says. Oh, I think we're getting Mira.
Here we go.
It'd be really funny if it wasn't Mira.
Hello, you're on the show. Who do we have?
It's me, Mira.
Yes. Hello. Welcome to the party.
Okay, so I know you've been giving people like 2 minutes. I'm going to need a little more than that because we're going to have a crash course in gender studies and literature.
Look, I'm like,
it's not great.
It's not my fault, okay? It's not my fault that there's 2 dudes talking about it. We host the show. I don't know what you want.
No, and that's fine. It was the opinions of the 3 other men before me that I was like, really, guys?
Oh man! All right, Mira. I'm gonna sit back with my John Travolta mug. Send us.
Okay, so this has been building up since the scene where Mysaria came to talk to Rhaenyra in the library. And that was initially where the subject was broached about Mysaria's scar, that Rhaenyra is starting to get a little flustered. What's happening here is you have a bisexual woman who's never been with another woman before. I mean, she's basically been with Harwin and Daemon and Kristen Cole that one time. And she is now kind of re-experiencing what it's like to be an awkward 15-year-old. But she's also having some like gender identity crisis, right? Because she's dealing with the restrictions of being the queen and being a woman, right? And that's why we see her like studying Desenia and picking up the sword. And so the sword comment was also, I mean, it was Mysaria, it was layered, right? She's green lighting Rhaenyra taking more, like being more assertive within her own life and within her own role. You know, saying that she finds Rhaenyra in a more masculine role attractive. It's really, I really liked that line. I thought it was really good. But so Mysaria trauma dumping right there, I'm not going to quite call it trauma dumping because Rhaenyra did ask, right? And the problem was when Rhaenyra initially asked, it wasn't her fucking business, you know? She was kind of the queen demanding an answer, right? And this actually kind of mirrors Tyrion and Varys, like Tyrion saying like, okay, like when did you lose your balls? You know, Rhaenyra didn't realize she was asking, you know, when did you lose your uterus? But this is something we've known about since season 1, episode 2, right? So like Rhaenyra has been attracted to Mysaria since, you know, basically since they started talking. I had mixed feelings. I had mixed feelings about the kissing. So Mysaria, finally, or I won't say finally, it hasn't been that long, but in answering Rhaenyra's question, she is now saying, I trust you. You know, I trust you that you can have access to something about my life that, like, I didn't even tell Daemon, you know, because it shows weakness. And, you know, showing weakness and being vulnerable means other people can hurt you, right? And this is a very female thing. And, you know, from a literary perspective, if you think about the man being the sword and the woman being the sheath, you know,
which
we don't want to be vulnerable.
Which does come up in this franchise quite a bit, to be fair.
Right. So, and Emma Darcy has actually addressed this in interviews, like the way that Rhaenyra relates to her gender identity. That, like, I mean, we know that Emma Darcy, like, they're non-binary, but so, you know, some of Emma's own identity is coming through. But I think it also makes sense for, like, taking the actor out of the equation for the character as written. And I agree with Emma's analysis that, like, you know, I don't know what label Rhaenyra might have, but she does, regardless of anything else, Rhaenyra does not love conforming to all of the typical womanly gender stereotypes. So the thing that we're seeing here is that Mysaria is allowing herself to be vulnerable in this sheath kind of way, and we've already talked about Rhaenyra's sword. But the problem is that Rhaenyra is the monarch, right? And the monarchs are violent. You know, that Robert would hurt Cersei, Viserys would hurt Alicent. And when you are vulnerable, when you are allowing yourself to be open, you are opening yourself to be hurt, you know, emotionally and physically. So, you know, Rhaenyra is now kind of playing the part of the awkward 15-year-old boy, but also the king, right? And so this is kind of how it mirrors that scene with Cersei and Lady what's her name? That, like, Cersei I don't think is bisexual. I think Cersei just wants to be a man. Whereas, like, Rhaenyra, I think it is some gay shit, but it's also like some gender and politics shit. And the thing is, the hug struck me as very maternal initially because, like I was very upset by that story. You know, like, I was sitting there, like, kind of all tensed up. Like, it was yucky. It's like the worst kind of yucky. Anyway, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not gonna think about that too hard. But so, you know, in many ways, Rhaenyra is the mother, right? You know, that she is the matriarch, especially now that Rhaenys is dead, of this little household that they have, and she is the queen. And so Rhaenyra's body language initially was very maternal. And so I do think Rhaenyra started the touching as being more sexual. I don't know who started nibbling on who first. I can go back and watch it, I guess. It seems to me as though Rhaenyra were initiating that transition. But I think both of them have been primed in a way to use sex as a vehicle for seeking safety, right? We know that Mysaria used to do this, that in her conversation at the end of season 1, episode 2 with Daemon, she said, I came to you to be liberated. And he said, from what? And she says, from fear, right? That as a sex worker, she wound her way into Daemon's life through his bed and then thought that she would be safe via proximity to Daemon. She has now not exactly done the same thing with Rhaenyra, that now she has proven herself valuable to Rhaenyra in other ways. But if she has been a sex worker since she was very young, that this is kind of a default setting, and this is why I was like, all the men need to stop talking about this now. And I'm not saying men can't be primed this way, but a lot of women are, a non-zero amount of men. I can't speak to a man's experience, but I can say a lot of women, right? So when there is that fear response and that feeling vulnerable, and the other person has a sword, it's like, well, if I put out, then I'm safe, right? So that was kind of what felt yucky. Like, Mysaria is attracted to Rhaenyra, it is there, but it was the conjunction of this sharing of this very traumatic story and that like extremely heightened level of vulnerability and the power dynamics. That was what made it feel kind of gross. And actually, I think that's what made it good writing, because now it's not just a fling. It's not just like, hey, baby, I think you're really hot. Let me eat that pussy. Because, I would. But it's also, it can't be just this beautiful, pure, clean, lesbian marriage, because, Rhaenyra is married to Daemon. And so that's going to be hanging over it. And then there's probably going to be some, internalized homophobia. And, yeah. I think that was everything.
All right.
I told you I had a lot to say.
Let me see if I can sum this up in a couple of words just to make sure that I understand your point. Because that's a dark take on that scene, and I see where you're coming from.
Well, and Tom, I want to be clear. Mysaria and Rhaenyra both find each other attractive. I don't think this was intentionally coercive in any way. I think this is just another story of two very broken people being broken together.
Because I find the use of the phrase, how to phrase, you're asserting that because one of the only ways that that a person in Mysaria's position can interact with people of the kind of power that Rhaenyra and Daemon have, one of the only ways that she can interact with those people is through sex. That this is the way that this is the way that she is interacting with them, which is makes for a really your points highlight the power imbalance like a lot more than I was getting out of that scene. And I'll pop back to you real fast because I want to pop back. Like I want to make sure that Zach is able to stay in the conversation. But is that where you like the highlighting the power imbalance? Is that one of the critical points of your position?
Yes, but I wanted it to be clear that it's not just the power imbalance of, oh, Rhaenyra is the queen and Mysaria is the commoner. The power imbalance of gender identity, of trauma, of all the other things I said. People watching later can rewind.
Power imbalance of shall we say someone in, gosh, the the dominant role in society and the non-dominant role in society, I suppose. Is that what we're driving at?
Yeah, and actually, I was listening to a video about ancient Rome, which is funny because that is the Valyrians, right? That this is how the men of the nobility would engage in sex. That like it didn't matter who they were sleeping with, man or woman. That men of the nobility had to be in the dominant role in sex. So yes, in this case, then if we're equating that to two women, then Rhaenyra as the monarch would be in the dominant role in that sexual relationship. But like that, it's partially and I know that there are other women in your audience who understand the thing that I'm trying to say. Like, you know how I know it's like a joke now, but like why women pick the bear.
Yeah.
That like, I don't have to like, if like let's say I let some guy stay over, like we hook up and he stays over. Maybe he is a total psycho. Like maybe he's the next BTK killer, and I'm gonna wake up with duct tape over my mouth and he's cutting my uterus out. Like I don't know. The moment you let yourself be alone with a man, like the moment you're naked in front of a man, like you are turning over your safety to him. And that's a very scary thing. So I guess I thought it was an interesting take on the dynamic because in many ways, like being with another woman can feel just inherently safer, right? But typically you're not going to have the imbalance of power, like physically. I mean, obviously you can, like bodies come in all different shapes and sizes, and I'm not trying to generalize too much here, but just, and then also, like we were saying, the sword and the sheath thing. And again, that's not to say that there aren't women who are psycho and deranged, because they exist. I'm not trying to be like sexist here.
All right.
But
these are some excellent points and an interesting, albeit very dark take on this episode and their relationship as a whole. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that it's fascinating. I'm gonna let you go so that we can pop back to Zach. But thank you very much for calling.
Okay. Well, can I do want to clarify, like, I don't think that this is entirely like I don't think it's a manipulative evil. I don't like, these are more things I wanted to highlight as things to look out for in future and in ways that their relationship might develop. I think there is also an element of it that is pure and beautiful and mutual attraction and all that great stuff, but everybody else already talked about that, so.
Okay. All right. We'll pop back.
Yep.
Thank you very much for calling in. Have a great night, Mayor.
Hello.
Zach, you're back.
I am back. That was a lot. I agree largely. I have some nuance to add to it, but I like that it's a mess. I like that it's a mess on so many levels because there's a lot of good writing opportunities, and you need plant seeds now for character stuff later. You can't like I would have appreciated if we had more episodes to see like their relationship trend this way a little bit, because I don't think it came fully out of it. And I agree with like the sword stuff, and there was like a little bit of flirting beforehand for sure. And there was clearly that they had like connection to each other. That was clear for sure. The people who are saying it like came out of nowhere clearly weren't paying too terribly much attention. The idea that like the passion was there and it like skyrocketed all of a sudden is true. Like it went from, and I agree with Mira, it goes from like kind of maternal or like sort of platonic hug to is this a platonic hug to this is definitely not a platonic hug, and you can see it on the characters' faces. Although we're having a Han shot first argument in the stream chat still.
I really did like your Han kiss first. That's pretty funny, dude.
That might be the best joke I make all month. But yeah, it's messy for a whole hell of a lot of reasons, but there's no like that's kind of realistic writing. Like if you if you talk about people who like their passion meets the moment like when you talk about it is never perfect, and there's always stuff going on. There's always like, and Mike was talking about if you just let power imbalances be like an end to all be all, you can get into a fractional argument really quickly. I think when you're the queen and somebody in your essentially your small council, your cabinet, there's like some red flags there, but it's not. It's something they need to talk about. And the wonderful thing is we have a lot of show left. They can talk about this. If they, I think the thing we said is if they say nothing, if it ever gets mentioned again, it's the biggest writing opportunity they ever wasted, other than Laenor being dead. If he like died off screen, then it would be the second biggest thing they ever wasted. But yeah, there's a ton here, and I agree. I think that Rhaenyra does feel a little like unsafe and unlistened to and untrusted for sure. I also think that she like the main theme for her, I'm gonna keep hammering it, has been agency all season, and that she doesn't have any. And like politically, you can see that right before this, when she's like, we need to, like do something. The only person who's been listening to her and trying to do things is Mysaria, who's been like trying to say, we can do something. We can send food with your boats to King's Landing to like turn the peasants against them. We can do things. We can, and she's been the one cheering her on. So I think it parallels that pretty well. She doesn't feel like there's anybody she can trust politically, and there's nobody she can be with closely. And yeah, the trauma like before, when you like read it out like that, sure, it is a little weird, and it is a little weird in universe too, but they were clearly like opening up to each other a lot more. It's a mess. There is no perfect impromptu makeout session, and that's the good thing about the show is now we get to see how they feel about it immediately after, and then after ruminating on it a little bit. These are complex characters, and you're right. Mysaria being a sex worker before means that this has always been sort of a part of her life, and it's always been, and she did also use it as a means to try and get herself into a higher position in life by finding Damon and saying, this is safer, this is better for me, and then not being able to trust Damon on that. And she might learn very soon that she can't trust Rhaenyra on that either. That might be part of her character arc, and that is interesting and fascinating if that's where they go with the show. I think it's too early to dunk on this scene without the full context of it, and I think it's wrong to dunk on it because it was very well shot and very well acted. If they squander the opportunity, if they do something dumb with it, that's their future problem and not their current problem. And I think that a lot of people are like criticizing it because it comes very late in the episode. And yeah, I wish they had more time to set it up a little bit better, but I still thought it was a like good scene. And
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. I
Yeah.
thought it was an interesting direction to take both of their characters that I wasn't expecting. And I am happy to see them. I'm also happy to have this like interesting conversation. One of the things that Mir brought up was a conversation about trust. And the two of them finding in each other people. I'm sorry, I apologize, not Mira. A few calls ago, finding individuals who are trustworthy is a valuable thing for both of their characters.
Yes. And it's also going to make them ignore the other potential problems that come with it, like, having feelings and acting on them in this scenario. You're gonna ignore some of those things when you have like feelings that strong, passions that like fierce, and a situation that is like exacerbating the problem. Because it like Rhaenyra is they're isolated, right? This is like, they're this is almost like COVID lockdown, sort of like I'm in the house with the same 5 people. Like it's gonna impact my view of them, sort of thing. It's going to add fuel to the fire because the only time she's left was like the one solid snake mission she did, and like she can't really fly around in her dragon at risk of being like scouted out by another dragon. She's got to sit put on the island, and the people who are there with her are all the people she has. and her husband's gone after like a big like nasty argument. Like it was always going to be a mess, but like that's pretty like human and real, right? You can't find the perfect vehicle to get where you want to go emotionally, so you always find the imperfect one instead.
What a lovely sentiment, Zach. Zach, I think that we are cruising in toward the end of the stream. So how about I rapid fire a couple of things for you?
We didn't talk about Nettles too terribly much.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about
do you want to go ahead
Sheep
on Nettles?
Stealer existing and being in the Vale, which is wild. Sheep Stealer doing exactly what George R. R. Martin said they wouldn't do, which only means he's upset about it. I don't have a problem with dragons flying around for food. I think that's cool. Also, George, it does kind of happen in The Dance of Dragons. So that's interesting. I love the like little riot scene we get where who it's Olivia Cook who plays Allison, right?
I believe so. Yes.
I want to make sure I'm getting her name right. Kudos for not having a stunt double. We're watching a clip about it. Taking those fish to the face for the scene. That's some brave shit. I don't know. I know a lot of actors and actresses who I've been friends with over the year who, if I said we're gonna throw a fish real hard straight at your face, they would say, Can we like not do that? Can we like do that in post? No. Kudos. You got hit with the fish. That's worth some sort of award. I don't know if it's like a filmmaking award. It might be like a fish durability award, but you deserve it. And that scene was very good. And Hugh Hammer straight up punching a guy might have been my favorite moment of the episode.
Oh hell yeah!
In an episode that contained dragons and people making out. It was the act of wanton random violence that really spoke to me.
My favorite part of the episode was what led up to that. Rhaenyra sending food to King's Landing. One of the sickest scenes in the entire show so far.
The guy realizing without any dialogue was ingenious.
And I've been over here this whole time. I've been over here like, Rhaenyra's not doing much. Is she really still like playing the political long game? And yup, she was. And it's good. It's good and cool, and it very well could work.
That might have been the best written and shot scene of the show so far, honestly, because it's something I love. I prattle on and on endlessly about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, shows that I adore. One thing both of those shows do brilliantly is they will do a long take without dialogue, with only characters sort of having their body and face reactions, with not like a ton of huge things happening, like there's not explosions and gunshots, but they will get you to feel something very strongly just by showing a character looking and reacting and behaving differently, and then seeing what they're seeing. That scene told you that was just some random actor, just some random guy in King's Landing. You could see a whole emotional arc inside of him as he realized what's happening. It's really good. That is the sort of shit, like, as a filmmaker, you want to be able to do, is communicate those ideas without having to write a fucking word of dialogue. It's also great when the writers go on strike, to be able to do that.
All right, Zach. Let's see, what else do we have? Jason Lannister rocks up to the Golden Tooth. I love this man. I love him so much. I've missed him. I've missed this piece of shit. This unutterable scumbag. I love this man. This beautiful scumlord. Oh my god, he's so much fun. Holy shit. He rocks up and he's like, we'd be more than happy to embrace your hospitality. I love this man so much. He's amazing.
I do like him a lot. How do you feel about the Reigns of Castamere being like sort of kind of used as a motif?
Yeah, this is I saw some discussion on this in the Discord, I think. I think that's fine. It's sort of
because it's non-diegetic. It's not being played in the universe. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's like the de facto.
We were discussing that. I don't think it's explicitly stated. when it was made, but to me, it was always Tywin's song.
Well,
Tywin commissioned a song
yeah.
about how fucking awesome he is.
It was definitely made after this, right? It was definitely made, sometime, within a year or 2 years of the Casterlys being wiped out. Casterlys? No.
Yes,
Reigns.
Yeah, both of them were wiped out, I thought.
The Casterlys were wiped out by Lan the Clever.
Oh, you're right.
It was the Reigns and the Tarbecks?
Tarbecks, that's right.
Tarbecks, maybe? Yeah.
You're right, Tarbecks. I was wrong. That's all right.
Let's see, what else do we have in here? Stefan Darklin is dead, rip.
Hold on, I want to bounce off something Michael Dean said, which is a good scene, but makes zero sense. And she's the one responsible for the blockade. Absolutely not. You can leverage that all sorts of way. Politically, you can blame the other side for the blockade. 100%.
It can be your fault. One of my favorite examples of this. I just reread The World of Ice and Fire because I'm a nerd. When Aerys was fighting Tywin, when he was arguing with Tywin, he would raise taxes, and then people would show up to complain, and then Aerys would say, "Oh my God, I don't know why Tywin raised those taxes," and then lower the taxes, which is hilarious and a dick move. And like, yeah, it is kind of Rhaenyra's fault, but that doesn't mean that she can't make political hay out of this situation.
Yes.
And also, it is just strictly a humanitarian act to do.
Yeah.
Mira says the Greens are taking all the livestock for the dragons. Yeah.
Yeah, they in blaming the blockade. Yes, they're both getting political pay made out of it. This is the same thing that happened during the Berlin airlift in like the Cold War. Was both sides trying to make political hay out for the Americans. It's we are getting like things in. We're getting food. We're getting supplies. We're stopping them from taking the whole city that we all agreed we were going to split at the peace conference, assholes. And the Soviets were being like, they're doing this whole airlift charade because they would rather do that than unite the city that they want to keep splitting up, assholes. And that, like, you can have, like, when there's a humanitarian crisis, two different sets of messaging. And we see, like, people, like, seem to believe two different sides, but there's some discontent amongst the small folk as to who's to blame. And we've seen that in pretty much every episode. Like, some people blame the Greens, some people blame the Blacks, and some people, during the riots, seem to be trying to stop people from attacking the Queen. So it's clear they're not all 100% on the same page, which is realistic.
Yeah.
When there's political turmoil and, like, human suffering cranks up, you do start to see people turn on each other. They don't all necessarily rise up in the same direction. And, well, some of them are going to be blaming the blockade in Rhaenyra. Other ones are going to be blaming the Greens for letting it transpire to the point that they were blockaded in the first place.
All right.
The pub conversation was yes.
I believe that is most of what I wanted to go over. In what amounted to, I think, a fantastic, like, truly a phenomenal episode. There were a couple of issues that I found. Notably, I didn't like the way that they did the claiming of sea smoke. I thought that like, the claiming of sea smoke, it ended on a cliffhanger, but not for the audience, just for Rhaenyra.
I was hoping we were going to get I was hoping we were going to end on a scene where she goes out and she sees sea smoke, and then she sees somebody who, like, looks like he could be Corlys Valerian's son, kind of, and, like, stops, like she's about to go in and fight, and then she, like, pulls away and is just astounded, and we would cut on her face looking shocked. That would have been an incredible ending that we didn't get.
I think it would have been better. The episode exactly as it is, but with all of the claiming of sea smoke scenes from this episode moved to the beginning of next episode.
Which would work, and then we get, because I think we're going to get a lot of dragon claiming next episode.
I think you're correct.
Would be my thought.
Yep. Which I'm very excited about. We also had Daeron. We had Allison talking about Daeron this episode, which I thought was heartbreaking, and also Daeron Cole. Very exciting.
I feel like if Daeron Cole's true, he would have mentioned something like, it looks a lot like that guy right over there. Actually,
Hey, we'll see.
not quite like his dad.
I'm stoked about it. I'm excited to see it.
Uh,
There have been some long
I-
lingering looks between what's his name? Gawain Hightower and Kristen Cole. He's been looking at him.
It's just because every Hightower wants to fuck Kristen Cole. That's why.
Yeah, Otto.
No, I think that was a very good scene because we don't get Allison like ruminating too terribly much on the role she had as a mother to two war criminals.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like if you're the mother to one war criminal, I'd be like, well, that's a fluke. I couldn't have seen that one. One and two, you have to start thinking, did I do a bad as a parent?
And the answer
like
is yes. You did. Like I do not assign you such agency as to assert that this is all your fault, but a lot of it is your fault. Zach,
Otto's bad dad arc from season 1, Allison's bad mom arc from season 2, and we also get Aegon's bad dad arc this season. Also, we get 3 generations of god awful parenting.
Zach, hang on. I'm getting a call in from one of our field operatives. Hold on one second.
Jasper Cersei.
We have one final report from the field. Duke, what's going on out there?
Yeah, I'm reporting live from Dragonstone, and what's happening with the Blacks? Gay shit, as always.
Thank you, Duke. That's our show, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching for almost 2 hours.
That's our show. That's our show. Thank you to everybody who called in. We will be here next
Tom,
week.
how many episodes do we have left? Is it just 2?
Two more episodes left, and that means that in exactly 2 weeks, Zach is going to take the Jeopardy live test here on stream.
Shit, I didn't know that. I did say I'd do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a great time.
What a wonderful and good if nothing else, I still think this series is like a B- range for me right now, but it's so fucking fun to talk about. There's so many shows I would give that similar ranking where I couldn't talk about it for like an hour every episode. But every single one of our streams is like the conversation has been longer than the episode itself, which is really like kudos to their ability to put so much interesting stuff to talk about it. Because I don't care. I care less about whether you show I love a good tightly knit story. I love good special visuals, but I'd rather, if anything else, your show be interesting.
Yeah.
And that's why, even if I think some things are rushed, even if I think some things are maybe could have been done a little bit better, fuck, this show has never been boring. Never once. And why else do you watch something other than not to be bored? So I'm looking forward to whether it continues to improve in quality or whether the HBO is going to do the funny thing again with their Dragon show, that it's always interesting.
And on that wonderful note, thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out. Big thanks to friend of the show, Yggdrasil, as always, for letting us use this wonderful art.
Yes, thank you. Oh, it's the vampire again.
Yeah, it's the vampire. We're gonna do what we do a lot of the time, where I'm gonna leave this.
Oh wait. Sorry, Nick Grimes says we didn't even talk about how Alice is confirmed not to be a ghost. No, what we've only confirmed is that at least one other person is aware of the ghost, and that she's a ghost doctor.
We know that either Alice. What we know is that Simon thinks Alice is real.
Yeah. Yes.
Simon,
this is a wonderful thing about. This is a wonderful thing about a show is we can debate whether a character was a ghost or not.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I like this show. Zach, say your goodbyes.
Goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye, Jackie. Goodbye, Nick. Goodbye, Mira. Goodbye, Michael. Goodbye, Chables. Goodbye, Mercy. Goodbye, Cool. Goodbye, Jasper. We got so many people. Goodbye, Steve Bob. Goodbye, Julie. Goodbye, Noob Smoke. Goodbye, Jordan. Goodbye. Yeah. Goodbye, Kevin.
Goodbye, Gurguru and Cool and Reagan and Julie and Kirsty and everybody else. Did we miss anybody?
Goodbye, all
Mercy
the rest.
Waters. Goodbye, Mercy.
Goodbye.
Good night, C Bob. Good night, Jackie. Good night, Jasper.
Zach, say something funny and I'll cut you off right in the middle.
Okay, so